Board of County Commissioners Board Work Session. It is Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. It is 2:01 p.m. This is set to go until 3 p.m. This is a hybrid meeting. We're in Building 1, Room 280. For public virtual attendance, you may follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. Commissioner Gary Edwards joining us via Zoom. Vice Chair Ty Menser, as well as County Manager Ramiro Chavez, are in transit and should be joining us later. We have Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell joining us here in the boardroom, and we have folks from Public Works joining us for the speed limit revision briefing. And with that, Scott, are you taking it over?
Matt Unzelman and Becky Kahn will be taking the lead on this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Unzelman. I'm a Thurston County traffic engineer, and I work with Becky Kahn in the traffic engineering operations group, who's a senior civil engineer. I'll let there it goes.
There we go.
So the good news is today's briefing should be a quick one. I'm going to quickly give you the highlights on how we evaluate and establish speed limits. And I'm going to say it's a quick one because we discussed a lot of the material we're covering several times earlier this year when we updated county code to allow for some additional engineering judgment when setting speed limits. The focus of this briefing is going to be on this year's recommended speed limit revisions, and there's a total of 8 proposed speed limit revisions. As we discussed earlier this year, next slide, Becky.
Did it move to the second one? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna try to stop and reshare. Are you seeing the agenda slide, Matt?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing.
Okay.
So go ahead and skip to the
Oh,
next
you
one.
want to go to the next? Sorry. If we can.
There we go. We got it.
Yeah.
All right. So all this slide is trying to demonstrate is that we have some pretty strict sideboards when we're revising speed limits. We must stay in compliance with federal, state, and our local code as well. So our local code states that all roads in the county are 50 miles per hour unless they're posted otherwise. Earlier this year, you approved County Resolution 16142, which outlines the process for evaluating speed limits and now allows staff some allowability to use engineering judgment in addition to the next 2 criteria I'm talking about. When we go forward in the presentation and we're discussing specific speed limit revisions, I'll make sure to highlight the ones that we utilized the additional engineering judgment on. So the first criteria that I'm going to talk to you about is 85th percentile speed. And all that really means is that that 85% of vehicles are traveling at or below a certain speed. And the other one is the 10 mile per hour pace speed. And this is simply the most popular 10 mile per hour range that vehicles are traveling. So how did we get to where we're at today? So over the course of a year, we received speed limit revision requests from the public, a good number from the commissioner's office, from the sheriff's office, and then we generate a lot of them on our own. After that, we'll perform an engineering study. You may have seen hoses laying across the road that make the annoying sounds when you drive over them. That's us doing an engineering study. And what that study is doing is collecting traffic volumes, traffic speeds, and also vehicle classifications. So based upon that, we can actually sort the amount of bus traffic, the amount of semi-traffic, and just your regular passenger car vehicles. If we evaluate the results and we determine that maybe a speed limit revision is needed, we'll go ahead and we'll send a letter out to all the adjacent properties on that road, asking for some comments on our proposed revisions. Once we've done that, we get to where we're at today. And that's where we've put together some formal speed limit revisions we're presenting to you today, and then I'll discuss the next steps later on in the presentation. So the first speed limit revision for your consideration is 93rd Avenue. So 93rd Avenue, this portion of 93rd Avenue extends from Tilley Road at the west side and over to Old Highway 99 at the east end of it. Currently, the speed limit is 50 miles per hour. We receive a lot of phone calls regarding this portion of Old Highway 99, and I know the commissioner's office does as well. This road is narrow, has lots of driveways. Portions of it have limited sight distance, and despite having minimal to no shoulders, it's amazing how many pedestrians and bicyclists use this section of road. I can confirm this. I work on the Tilley campus and I drive 93rd all the time, and it always amazes me how many bicyclists and pedestrians are using this segment of roadway. And unfortunately, we even had a fatality involving a bicyclist on this portion of roadway last year. This road is used by more than 6,000 vehicles per day. Based upon a recent speed study, the 85th percentile speed was 51 miles per hour, and the 10 mile per hour pace speed range was 41 to 51 miles per hour. However, based upon the safety considerations that we just discussed, we're recommending that we utilize engineering judgment on this roadway segment to reduce the speed limit from an posted 50 miles per hour speed limit to a 40 mile per hour speed limit. And there's another advantageous reason for doing this, and that's that the portion of 93rd that is owned by the state that extends from I-5 to Tilley Road is already posted at 40 miles per hour. So with this speed limit revision, 93rd Avenue would be 40 miles per hour all the way from I-5 to Old Highway 99. Next slide. So these next two speed limit revisions I'm discussing are connected to one another. This service request was initiated by private local citizens. 199th Avenue comes off of Tyrell Road, which comes off of Skookumchuck Road, which is south of Tenino. This is a very narrow roadway and only has a traffic volume of a little more than 210 vehicles per day. The 85th percentile speed was 30 miles per hour. The 10 mile per hour pace speed was 15 to 25 miles per hour. And we're recommending that the speed limit be reduced from 50 to 30 miles per hour. The next speed limit revision, as I said, is connected to 199th, and that's actually Tyrell Road itself. It's also a very narrow chip seal roadway. It's currently an unposted 50. It's used by 330 vehicles per day. The 85th percentile was 35 miles per hour. And the 10 mile per hour pace speed range was 19 to 29 miles per hour. And so we're recommending to post this road also at 30 miles per hour so that we have consistency between Tyrell Road and 199th. Next up is Case Road. So this is just a small portion of Case Road. It extends from where we did our fish passage project on Beaver Creek. I believe it was last year or the year before at the south end. And then at the north end is Maytown Road, which is immediately adjacent to the I-5 Maytown exit 99 interchange. This was brought to our attention through citizen complaints, both fielded at our Public Works office as well as the Commissioner's office. This is currently a posted 50-mile-an-hour road and is used by more than 2,700 vehicles per day. The 85th percentile speed is 53 miles per hour. The 10 mile per hour pace speed range is 42 to 52 miles per hour. Staff is proposing a 40 mile per hour speed limit based upon engineering judgment. The big gravel area you can see on your screen is the former Ritchie Brothers site, which is now a Freightliner site. So there's constantly there's multiple driveways entering the site, and there's constantly semi-traffic going in and out of those driveways. And you combine that with drivers coming from the south, northbound on Case Road, they come around a corner with limited sight distance, and if there's truck traffic pulling out, it creates a safety concern. And we also have a unprotected railroad that crosses Case Road in this vicinity, right next to the Freightliner vicinity, actually. And unfortunately, we've had some collisions involving trains and vehicles. I know that we've had at least 3 in the last several years. So again, we're recommending reducing the speed limit to 40 miles per hour. So now we're covering the whole county here. So now we're going to the northeast, to specifically Fishtrap Loop. This portion of Fishtrap Loop is posted at 35, but based upon a speed study that we recently did, we confirmed that drivers are actually only going 30 miles per hour, which suggests that the speed limit is set too high right now. The average traffic volume, the 10 mile per hour pace speed was 21 to 31 miles per hour, which further supports lowering the speed limit on this road. The average traffic volume is around 300 vehicles per day. Based upon county code, the appropriate speed limit should be 25 miles per hour, which is appropriate based upon the roadway geometry. You can see on the screen, we've highlighted the road, and there's not many straight portions of this road. It's just a conglomerate of curves. So, and some of these curves have limited sight distance. And then this is a fairly residential area, so there's a lot of people walking up and down this road too. So we're recommending a 25 mile per hour speed limit on Fishtrap Loop. And I'm sorry, I didn't give you the limits. It goes from Libby Road to Libby Road, which is why it's a loop. So this next one is Woodard Bay Road, and it's currently an unposted 50 mile per hour road. This portion extends from Boston Harbor at the west end to Libby Road on the east end. The average traffic volume is around 1,600 vehicles per day. The 85th percentile speed is 48 miles per hour, and the 10 mile per hour pace speed range is 37 to 47. Based upon county code, the recommended speed limit is 40 miles per hour. I do want to highlight on this one, as I mentioned before, all of these proposed speed limit revisions, we sent letters to all the adjacent property owners with containing stating what we're proposing. And of all the locations that we're going to be reviewing today, this has by far received the most public support.
Didn't we already consider this one in the last revision and reject it?
We didn't reject it. We didn't make a decision on it.
Okay, so this is the same one that we had, and we had public hearing, we had public comment, and a couple of board commentary. This is the same stretch?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
This next road is Houston Drive Northwest, and this comes off of 17th Avenue, which comes off of the Evergreen Parkway. It's currently an unposted 50 miles per hour. This is a narrow, and it's one of the last remaining gravel roadways in the county's jurisdiction. So you can imagine a gravel roadway combined with a 50 mile per hour speed limit raises some concerns. There's 130 vehicles per day. The 85th percentile was 27 miles per hour, and the 10 mile per hour pace speed was 11 miles per hour to 21 miles per hour, which supports the lowest speed limit that we can legally do on this roadway, which is 25 miles per hour. And so the last speed limit revision that we're going to review today is Recklau Road. Recklau Road, and this, I should say, this was citizen initiated. Recklau Road comes off of Yelm Highway, and it dead ends at the north end. The speed limit is currently posted at 35 miles per hour. However, when we did a speed study, it confirmed that most of the traffic is traveling less than 30 miles per hour. So like Fishtrap Loop, this suggests that the speed limit is probably set too high at this point. The 10-mile-per-hour pace speed was 19 to 29, which further supports, based upon county code, that this speed limit should be reduced to 25 miles per hour. Like Fishtrap Loop, this is a very residential neighborhood. It has a lot of pedestrian traffic. There is some curves with limited sight distance. It's not a very wide roadway, and so based upon all that, I think we can support a speed limit revision to 25 miles per hour. So next steps. So the next steps is Public Works will be submitting an AIS to consider to set a public hearing to consider the proposed speed limit revisions. And then once we've held the public meeting, it will ultimately be the Board of County Commissioners' decision on whether we go forward or not with these speed limit revisions. So at that point, I'd be happy to answer any speed limit questions.
Okay, questions? Commissioner Edwards, we'll start with you, sir.
Yes. Do you have a website showing all of this information and what your proposals are that the public could go to and review with all the justification that you've given us, and then have a place for a comment for those individuals?
No, sir, we don't currently. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. What we could do is on our website, provide a link to the YouTube page where this presentation is posted. And then we could also give them information on how they could contact us with comments.
And I guess that's my concern on which one of these were government recommended versus citizen recommended. So I would definitely like to hear from neighbors in the particular areas affected. And I don't know how many would write a letter in, would make a phone call in, or would go on the website and comment. But how many comments did you get back out of all the mailings that you did?
Becky, do you know?
I want to say we've probably gotten 20 to 30 on all, like, that's combining all the roads, the comments.
Right. And how many mail outs did you do?
I don't think we have an exact number, but a lot more than what we received back.
Well, sure. But I mean, still, I think it's crucial from my position as a county commissioner to hear from the public when we're going to do something that is mostly going to affect them in this particular area. And your speed limit analysis and everything, you know, that's a big piece of it for sure. But you know, the rest of it is public input. I'm kind of about the farthest thing from a communist you're ever going to come across. And I want the public to have a say.
And I'll say that we send out letters to everyone along the route to try to get that feedback. We also, if we set the public hearing, we do put notice boards out on each of the roadways at the start and the beginning and the end of where the limits would be of the revision, to try to capture any of those people that drive through that area. And then of course it will be, with the public hearing, it will be announced in the newspaper. So
I guess, but I'm dealing with reality, and you know, reality is you get a few people that respond, but the vast majority either don't know where to go to respond, or they didn't keep the letter, or whatever it is. But we tend to hear about these things after we put something in place, and that's my big concern. I don't know what your time frame is, but I would certainly like to see these suggestions followed to get public input back, because there's so many of them. You know, I think the last time we did this, I don't know, we did 2 or 3, and it wasn't so bad that we couldn't go out. I think some of us went out and looked at the situation at hand or talked to people in the area. I don't know what my seatmates did exactly, but I did. Anyway, so I don't know what the time frame is. I don't know what the rush is, Also, I would like to know what the accident history is on each one of these to indicate, yes, there is definitely a safety problem, or, well, no, everybody seems to maneuver this thing quite well. How many people called in their pedestrians and don't feel safe? Whatever it is, I think we need a little more information and input from the public. That's my concern. I have no question you guys are doing a good job at what you're doing. I'm just not sure that it's adequate to take an action that then later turns out, maybe that was excessive. Maybe we should have only went to 40 instead of 35 or whatever it was. So I don't know what my seatmates are going to say, but that's kind of where I'm at on the whole thing.
Commissioner Menzer?
I don't have any questions. To be honest, when I got on the board, I was kind of stunned at the amount of effort and it's an analysis, the traffic analysis. You're telling me how many cars per day, what the average speed is, what the pace speed. You're giving me all this data just based on a citizen asking for an analysis of a situation. I was kind of staggered that we responded in that way. So I don't have any questions. Like, public hearing is always great because on that one with Woodard Bay, we did hear some comments that made me pause on that one. I didn't remember that we voted or not, but I know that there were some very interesting arguments made on both sides, and that's what the public hearing's for. I'll certainly read anything that's provided to me that was collected by the staff, but I don't have any questions. I think I'm good to go. If the next step is a public hearing, which is what I was.
Yeah, that's the next step for you. You consider setting a public hearing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions either. I thought the presentation was good. So, County Manager, I see that it's an informational session. Do you need a decision point at this time?
Well, I think what you will see from the staff is an AIS for you to consider setting the public hearing. And at that point is the board will have to weigh in whether you like to set a public hearing or you want to hold. But you will see an AIS requesting the public hearing being set.
Because remember, we did set a public hearing last time, and we did get comment, and we didn't take action.
Yeah, I recall that.
We decided to get whatever it was, not to do it or get more information, and so we've proven that it doesn't bind us to any particular action.
But also, Commissioner Edwards requested accident information on those locations. Could you send those, Matt?
Yes, sir.
And then he also requested which ones were citizen initiated, which of these were citizen initiated and which ones were government initiated. So
It would be great to have that information prior to the board considers setting a public hearing.
Commissioner Edwards, is there any other information you need?
No, I don't think so, but I do think it's important in today's day and age of technology that we utilize that technology to communicate with our communities. So, it is the democratic process. It's, 2 votes will get you yay or nay on that particular issue of communicating or not. But I believe it's crucial, and it'll probably be how I base my vote on moving ahead with this.
Okay. It is 2:25. You're adjourned. Thank you.